we call it the Showdown in Charlotte. Tonight, TORC, the off-road championship, returns to a little track in North Carolina to beat and bang and outgun and outrun and host a straight-up shootout in dirt. At the last round at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway, the hungry young brutes in the Pro Light division clamored for position, pushed, shoved, and held nothing back in the quest for victory lane. In Pro two-wheel drive, Keegan Kincaid finally put an exclamatory end to CJ Greaves' 6-race win streak in a battle that saw the two title rivals laying it all out for the Charlotte race fans. CJ couldn't be stopped in Pro four-wheel drive, but the epic action behind him showcased classic TORC short course, side-by-side fierce competition. Only 2 rounds remain in this season-long fight for a TORC championship. But anything can happen when you trap 900 horsepower beasts inside a bull ring. You better stick around, because TORC and the Showdown in Charlotte starts now. If the Showdown in Charlotte #1 wasn't good enough, let's do it again. The Showdown in Charlotte Part 2. Stop number 12 of TORC, the Off-Road Championship, presented by AMSOIL. Hello everyone, welcome to Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm Robbie Floyd. This is not only the Supercross champion, the TORC Series champ, but also Motorsports Hall of Famer Ricky Johnson and RJ in the Pro 4-wheel drive at the last round. An exciting race. CJ Greaves takes the win, but Mike Jenkins in that Traxxas truck, he gave him everything he could handle.
Absolutely right, Robbie. Mike Jenkins was on fire in the last round. He led for 75% of the race. He wasn't blocking, wasn't driving out his mirror. He was driving out his windshield. Even though CJ got by him, Mike was on fire.
And in the Pro 2-wheel drive, finally, the streak has ended for CJ Greaves at 6. Keegan Kincaid, he broke that streak.
Keegan came by, passed CJ, had to rough him up a little bit to get by, but then was running his own laps. CJ took a couple shots at the end, but it was Keegan that took the checkered flag.
It wasn't quite fast enough, but in the Arturo Tire Pro Light division, there were 8, maybe 9 drivers that could have won that race. Only one that was victorious, but what a battle between our top 2 drivers. I mean, they were going at it, and they couldn't get away from each other.
Well, Dinsmore and Hart were going back and forth, banging on each other a lot. Dinsmore had to do a stop and go to the back. Hart had to go to the pit twice to change 2 flat tires. So tonight is the deciding round.
Yeah, and we could possibly have a points clinching scenario, but again, it is an unbelievable race in the Arturo Tire Pro Lights, and the guy who is in the mix is Travis Dinsmore, and earlier he caught up with Kate Osborne.
Well, the last round here in Charlotte was quite a physical battle between you, Travis, and Kyle Hart. This is your time to tell your story. From your point of view, what happened?
Well, you know, it's just he was trying to cut down on us. Classic case of, you know, his spotter didn't let him know he was clear. He either moved over too soon or his spotter told him to. Same thing happened a couple laps later. His spotter told him to try and block us, and it was just too little too late. He got tangled up, and he ended up with the raw end of the deal. We were black flagged. It wasn't favorable. We don't agree with it, but we're going into tonight with a little more momentum. We're ready to take the gloves off and battle this out. This has been 3 years in the making for us, and we're ready to fight it out.
Tonight is the last time that you can keep your championship dreams alive. How far are you willing to go?
You know, we're going to do what it takes. This isn't just one race for us. This is, like I said, 3 years, and we're ready to do whatever it takes to win this tonight. And
if that's not already enough drama, Travis Dinsmore and Kyle Hart will be starting side by side here tonight with Pro Lights.
The Arturo Tire Pro Lights will be the first race you see tonight of 3. We have the Pro Lights, Pro 2, and the Pro 4-wheel drives to show you, and you take a look at these drivers, Luke Johnson and Sean Morris, starting on the front row.
On row 2, we got Kyle Kleiman, last night's winner, and Cam Reimers as well. So 2 yellow trucks, we got to watch out for them.
And watch out, this could be the battle here. Kyle Hart standing next to Travis Dinsmore on there, as well as we work through Andrew Carlson, a winner here. Bobby Runyon, one of the fastest drivers in the last round. Lunderby may or may not enter this. Jesse Johnson, without question, had an opportunity to win at the last round. Casey Curry, look for him. He starts in back, but I don't think he's going to stay there for very long. Again, this is done from points. They invert the top 6 in points. That's why you see Dinsmore and Kyle Hart back there a couple of rows, and it's time to go racing. Green means go, and Sean Morris on the inside of that Kenda Tire blue truck with Luke Johnson, the Red Bull entry just on the outside of him, trying to get that grip, and he finds it.
Runs the cushion right around the outside. Brad Knopfsinger would have been proud of that. So as Luke comes down to the inside, he protects a little bit, holds the inside. Sean Morris in second, and here comes Kleiman.
And the last round winner, Kyle Kleiman in the yellow, number 42 in third. There's Kyle Hart in 5th, Carlson 6th, and it looks like Cam Reimers just behind him in the Liquid Rich truck, and Reimers goes the outside and nowhere to go.
Yep, and he has to back up all by himself, so I don't think they're going to call on that because it's one of those places where they're just bumping and banging.
And you get to a point where you're sliding and you can't, no matter how much you press that brake, it's not going to slow down. Kyle Kleiman pushes Kyle Hart wide, and here comes Andrew Carlson underneath.
Totally unintentional. He slid, and when it pushed to the right, it took him out. And now we got Luke Johnson on the outside on the cushion, and Sean Morris looking to the inside, now moving up to the cushion as well.
Morris was a front runner last night, and then he got into the back of Casey Curry. I don't think it was planned by any means, but they did penalize him and had to bring him in for a stop and go. He was the fastest guy of the night in Pro Lights for one lap.
Yep. We see Luke Johnson swapping back and forth, and now we see Andrew Carlson working his way back up with Kleiman pushing on the inside. He wants to get back up to that front.
Kleiman got a little sideways, but a little door tap, said, "Hello, I'm here. Don't keep screwing up in front of me or I'm going to get you."
151, Andrew Carlson is the man on the move as he looks to the inside of Sean Morris. Sean pushes. Andrew Carlson to the 151, moves into second place.
Look at them as they clear that little double jump. Andrew Carlson, a winner back at Elk River, round number 7. It was his backyard, the Minnesota one. He actually races snowmobiles in the winter, and he hits off-road trucks during the summer. That's quite a life he's got going.
And that was an unbelievable lap for him. That gave him the fastest lap of the race so far, even though it's only lap 2. But he passed 2 drivers and put down the fastest lap. So keep an eye on Andrew Carlson.
Bobby Runyon trying to work up through the field. You see Kyle Hart swapping from left to right in that Maxxis entry. Hart back there in the top 6, currently in 6th place right now. But I do believe that was Travis Dinsmore right with him.
It is, and Dinsmore looks to the inside of Kyle Kleiman in the 42. Sean Morris in the 27 holds the inside, looking on the inside of the 151 of Andrew Carlson.
Slico entry, number 43, Travis Dinsmore. Again, he needs to stay in front of the truck that's behind him if he has a chance to win the championship in TORC in the Arturo Tire Pro Lights class. But we still also have to talk about the competition caution at the halfway point. This is a 16-lap race. So after the 8th lap, we will go to a competition caution, re-rack them and restack them. Let's go to Kate Osborne.
In talking to Kyle Hart earlier today, he was saying that he really just wants to stay clean throughout this race. He obviously wants to win it, that is his goal, but he said for him it's really making sure he finishes this race, he does it to the best of his ability, and he's out in front by the midway point.
And right now he's got 2 drivers side by side, make it 3, and Kyle Kleiman has to cut off, but that's part of it. He really had no option to enter the track any earlier than he just did. And now into the back's Dinsmore, because you see what happens. Morris lost all that drive, and Dinsmore just really closed in. He said he would do whatever it takes, Ricky, but I think that's just straight up racing.
Well, now we have these guys back and forth. So you see the drivers are pushing a little bit out, and now we see Dinsmore looking at the inside, but Kyle Hart is going to have a run, and Dinsmore gets a hold of the tire. Sean Morris on the back of him, and now Kyle Hart looks to the inside and gets past number 27, Sean Morris.
You know as well as I do, those radiators are in the back of that truck. Could he have done damage to the 43 entry climbing onto the back of him?
Yeah, and now we see the bumping and banging and stuff like that. Anything can happen, and the track is starting to get a little bit faster as we look, and we see Sean Morris pushing really hard. I don't think he liked the way that Kyle Hart got by him because he got pushed to the inside.
But is he still upset earlier about Dinsmore? Why? I don't know.
I have no idea. You never know what a driver thinks, but let me just tell you, I see some puffing and putting, out of the back of Kyle Hart. We could see a problem again, so he might have a right rear flat again.
He's got something wrong. The series points leader is dropping back. He's going to lose 2 spots here. Might get taken out accidentally, because it looks like Curry's going to get by Cody Kleiman.
It's a right front tire on Kyle Hart. So is he going to come in early? Here we see, I think that's Jesse Johnson on the outside. There's a whole lot of racing going on.
Does he hold on? If he makes it to after lap 8, he can come in and maybe not lose a lap. Or if he pulls in now, he'll lose a lap.
With a front wheel flat, he's going to stay out there and keep driving and just try to keep them in sight. So right now the drama is, but it's on the right side. So we have 3 left-hand turns and 1 right-hand turn, so this is hurting him every time he goes around.
So every left-hand turn puts a lot of pressure on the right-hand side tires. Luke Johnson, your leader right now. Carlson and Kleiman 1, 2, and 3. There's Marty Hart trying to offer some encouragement, telling them what they need to be doing, whether in the pits or to his driver.
Let me just tell you, as a father, it's way more nerve-wracking to sit up there and watch your son race than it is to be down when you're in the battle. Here we can see him on the inside, and now we see some of the other drivers looking to the inside, but Kyle just has to keep that thing rolling because the track is getting faster and he'll be able to pass after this competition yellow.
He's got a plow right now with that right front. I mean, the rim is digging into the dirt at times, as the 91 trying to work by, as well as the 21 working by. They just keep clicking them off, and he's just that 8th lap can't get here quick enough because we should have the comp caution coming up.
And right now, Luke Johnson has the fastest lap of the race, and he's got I'm not going to say a comfortable lead, but about 3 car lengths on Andrew Carlson. And now we see Kyle Kleiman looking to the inside of the number 42.
And when we saw him, he was pointing in the wrong direction. As Luke Johnson out in front, Kate Osborne, you have more?
Luke Johnson putting together some consistent laps right now. That, he said, was his goal today. He wanted to make sure he didn't get beat up on the guys behind him. However, he knows that Kyle Kleiman, and there's right now a lead change. It looks like Andrew Carlson is picking it up right there as we're heading into the comp caution.
So that's exactly right, Kate. Andrew Carlson does take over the lead as we take the competition caution. Luke Johnson will start in second, Kyle Kleiman in third, Morris and Jesse Johnson up into the top 5. Kyle Hart is in the hot pit, and it's up to his crew to get him back out there before they start the second half of this race. We're in a competition caution, and boy, unfortunately for the series points leader, the 41 who is looking to wrap things up, he could clinch here tonight. He still can, but he's going to have to do it from the back of the field. He just needs to beat Travis Dinsmore, and you look through the field, Travis Dinsmore not inside that top 5 himself. He's back there with Kyle Hart. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, I mean, like I said, this is a nerve-wracking deal, but as we see, Andrew Carlson got a great jump on Luke Johnson and Kyle Kleiman. Looks to the inside, Kyle moving to the outside cushion. We'll see what chance works out, and now Kyle Kleiman right around the outside.
Kyle Kleiman gets around, looks like he's going to move into second. Johnson's on that inside. He's going to have a better position to block. And speaking of that, drivers on the inside totally blowing off the outside of the track. I do believe that's Jesse Johnson
that was
going
Jesse
straight.
Johnson came in and got a hold of Sean Morris pretty hard. And now we see Casey Curry running really hard. Bobby Runyon swapping back and forth. And now Casey's made it out of that mix with the best bet. Now he's in the top 5 in 4th place.
All heck just broke loose a moment ago. You can only fit so many trucks into one spot.
Sean Morris gets pushed off the track. He misses one of the Musco lights, ends up hitting a garbage can, misses a flamingo, a garden gnome, complete mayhem in the Pro Light division.
It's go time now. We're on the back half of this race after that comp caution. Oh, Luke Johnson's turning right. He's trying to turn left. Where is he going? What is going on with that truck?
Well, I see that both wheels are spinning, so the bad luck continues for Luke Johnson, that Spider Multicam Red Bull Chevy, but so he's just got to work his way back up now. He's back in the back with everybody else.
And he had a fast truck early on, was out in front for most of the first half of the race. Speaking of guys moving up, I'm seeing a flashback of Chicago when he finished third. Kyle Hart has already passed a few drivers. Now he's working on Cam Reimers, but Reimers still wants to get up there in the top 5.
Exactly, but Kyle Hart just has to stay smooth and keep running. You know, he has to finish, and anything can happen with Dinsmore and all that. So you got to remember, you just got to keep pushing. And the great thing about this class, the trucks are so close. If your setup is off just a little bit, it's hard to make it up.
Kyle Hart in the 41. Travis Dinsmore broke before the competition caution as we have a ballet move here for TORC, the Off-Road Championship presented by Amsoil, and a couple of pirouettes and driving off. Not what you want to see if you're either Roper or the Liquid Rich truck.
Right now, Andrew Carlson has worked his way back up into first place, and last night's winner, Kyle Kleiman in the number 42, continues to try to chase him down.
I just don't know which Andrew Carlson shows up. If you look at his races throughout the first 11, he has a first and a third, but a lot of 10s, 11s, 12s. His consistency is the main thing he really needs to work on because he's fast.
Yeah,
real fast for a lap or two, but he's having a hard time to hold it all together for the entire race.
He's a young driver. He's learning. He's going fast. He's got a great family behind him. He's got a great crew behind him. And here we see Kyle Hart moving his way back up. So at this point, he is the new champion. He is the one that, with Dinsmore out of the race, Kyle Hart is our new champion. Don't
you think Dad probably told him that as well? His spotter said, Travis is out. You go out there and race. You win this thing. We saw it at Chicago where he came back to third. Right down, this is a pass for third. He slams it a little bit too much, and he goes to the inside. He cannot gain a position, but he didn't lose much of a position as well.
Exactly. And right behind him, we see that Luke Johnson has worked his way back up into the field again. So he's back. So these guys are racing door to door.
Luke Johnson, who's also Ace Industries helping him out this weekend. We may see him in a Pro Tour. That's the plan, to see him in that Strength Flex Pro 2 possibly come Crandon. So watch out for Johnson. You see him in that Red Bull entry closing in inside the top 5. And just something went wrong for him in the middle portion of this course. But everything seems to be going right now for Kyle Hart. You look at the 41 with all the problems happening in Louisiana. You know he has a lot of friends, family dealing with the floods. And it's positive thoughts right now for Kyle in third.
Exactly, but you know what? Think about what other form of racing do guys go from the front to the back to the front to the back? No other form of racing out there, and not GRC, not NASCAR, unless it takes 600 laps. But right now, we've seen Kyle Hart change a tire. We saw Luke Johnson spin out and go to the back. Now they're working their way all the way back up.
Luke Johnson, the fastest lap. I told you he's closing in a 45.57 on that last lap. About a tenth and a half faster than the leader, Andrew Carlson. So I wasn't just pointing him out because he's your son, but you can tell how much faster Luke is right now.
Yeah, he's trying some different lines, but I'm just really proud of Kyle Hart right now. He's done a great job. He fought his way back. He got a flat again, but now we're seeing him race. But the guys out in front, I don't want to forget about them. Andrew Carlson and also Kyle Kleiman, last night's winner, are putting on a show. These guys are gone.
You know, we've talked to their dad before, the Kleimans, and it's not just Kyle Kleiman. Cody's right there in front.
Exactly.
Cody's on a podium spot. How great would it be to have both kids on the podium?
Yeah, I mean, I can't. It's tough enough for me to hold my emotions when I'm watching my son race, but to have both of them trying to cover it, and so it's something to. It's something. And imagine Johnny Greaves gets to race one. Now we see Luke Johnson looking at the inside of Kyle Hart, giving him room, not running him hard, and got a different line, but the track is coming together for these guys.
And Cody Kleiman, his best finish of 5th. He's the first truck in that picture, the number 48. Kind of single file, nice little hump on the inside, a little finger we've seen before, but it's really developing in this. White flag out, one more lap to go. Andrew Carlson, Kyle Kleiman going at it on this final lap, side by side. Carlson on the outside, the yellow truck of Kleiman trying to go 4 in a row. Can he do it, Ricky?
The race is not over because Andrew Carlson's been very fast, but here we see Cody Kleiman looking at the outside, now shooting to the inside. Is he going to have something in this right-hander? He has to get through this swim section absolutely perfect.
He did.
And then Andrew Carlson swaps out a little bit.
Look at Kleiman. He went through there really fast, and this is two more opportunities to bump and possibly run. Andrew Carlson looking for his second victory in the year. Carlson is holding him off. He's got him on the outside. Where does he go?
Shoots to the inside. Crossover move. Can he make it stick?
Rotates. Kyle Kleiman shoots to the inside, puts himself in position, and takes a win. 4 in a row for the Ponzi truck. What a race. He tried getting protective, and it cost Andrew Carlson, but what a race by the 42, Kyle Kleiman with the victory.
TORC, the Off-Road Championship, is brought to you by AMSOIL, devoted to protection. Maxxis Tires, we know dirt. And by Cooper Tires, we make tires for people, not just cars.
It doesn't make a difference what place you're in at the start of the race. It's how you finish the race. And he leads one lap, the final turn. And Kyle Kleiman, his 4th race victory in a row. And Kate Osborne is with it.
Kyle, that was absolutely an epic finish. You were waiting behind him. You were pushing him hard. You were trying to figure out if he was going to make a mistake, and you got around him. How did you know that was the right time to capitalize on it?
Honestly, on the second before the last lap, I noticed that he had opened up that inside a little bit, and that's what I was going to work. And seeing that I was hooking up a little better than he was, so I was just going to shoot for it at the end and make it an exciting race. But I can't do without this, just this fresh engine, Pro Power. I mean, those guys are awesome. Ponzi, Cooper Tire, and these STT Pros hooking up in the gnarliest of stuff. It's awesome. My family, my crew, AMSOIL, TORC, everybody, thank you guys so much.
Kyle Kleiman, he is 4 in a row in Pro Lights.
Oh, man. I mean, what a relief for him and the whole Ponzi crew as we look at the unofficial results. And he and his bro are on the podium together. What a special night for the Kleiman family. Andrew Carlson, I know he wanted that second win. He wanted it so bad, and he held on until that last turn, and Kate is with him now.
Yeah, Andrew, you just told me that you are pretty frustrated. One can imagine that would be the case. You were running a great race. You knew this was a track that was suited well for you. Your truck was set up well, but you didn't have it. What did he have on you tonight?
It's a tough track like that to lead on because it's so slippery and you got to run the high line to have speed, but he ran a great race. All he could do was pressure me and wait for something to happen, and he did. So It's a tough condition to lead in because it's just prone to mistakes and stuff. But you know, I got to thank my crew. Everyone busted their butt today to get this thing going. And we had a fast truck yesterday, but we got kind of the short end of the stick. So I'm really happy to be up on the box today, and I just wish we were on top, but it's still a good finish.
Andrew Carlson, second place here in Pro Light.
He's only 23 years old. Watch out for Andrew Carlson in the future. As we take a look at the points, look at this. Unofficially now, Kyle Hart is the 2016 TORC champion in the Arturo Tire Pro Light division. He had to leave here with a 25-point advantage, and right now it looks like he has a 33-point advantage over Kleiman now, who's moved into second. Let's go down to, I don't want to say the other Kleiman, but Cody, congratulations on your podium.
This is his first ever podium in Pro Light. It's incredible. You said, wow, that was intense, but this is really a victory. You told me you were gaining your confidence, you were gaining your truck back. You just had to perform now, and that's exactly what you did. How well did it feel for you?
This feels amazing. I don't know how to put it in words. I've worked so hard for this, and I just can't thank my crew, my girlfriend, everybody enough that time here. This is amazing. It was well deserved, I think.
Absolutely, well deserved. Cody Kleiman here, third place.
I love that. The tears showing some emotion.
And I love how his brother is now saying more than 5 words. And he's doing he's thanking Cooper Tire, he's thanking Ponzi, he's thanking his crew, Pro Power. He's got it down. And now the younger Kleiman is at a loss for words. But it's great to see the emotion coming from a young driver like that, because when you break onto the podium, it does something to you spiritually, emotionally, and mentally. So congratulations to the Kleiman boys.
All right, let's take a look at this week's TORC Tech. Let's see what Ricky Johnson has to offer.
We're here in the Traction Pit with number 7 Pro 2 driver Keegan Kincaid. We're here to talk about tires today. What they can do before the races, they have a soft and a medium tire. If you run the soft tire, it's gonna give you more traction at the beginning, but it could fade away. If you run the medium, it's not gonna work as well at the beginning of the race, but it comes back at the end. But talking to Keegan, what are some things that you can do as a driver to save your tires?
Oh, you know, there's a couple things. You know, depending on track situation and where you're at. If you're in the lead, you know, you're just short shifting and just get out front and easy on everything. Easy on the tire, you're gonna run the cushion a little more, cooling the tire down until halfway. Halfway, you're gonna be finding those wet spots, you know, cooling the tire down as much as you can and go from there.
So there you have it. Keep an eye on that right rear. It's gonna be a premium.
And we'll see if Keegan Kincaid can keep those Cooper tires hooked up. And it's a little wetter than we thought it would be, but the Pro 2-wheel drives, we bump up the horsepower, bump up the suspension, and some bad boy racing. The Pro 2s are coming up next right here in Charlotte, North Carolina. As we look at the Pro 2-wheel drives line up, who is going to win in this round? Because Keegan Kincaid proved that somebody can beat CJ Greaves. Will it be Keegan Kincaid? We'll have to find out here in just a bit. Ari Leindyke Jr. and Kyle Hart starting on the front row. Kyle Hart comes off the track in Pro Lights. Now he's in the 2s. Rodney Van Effert, Brad Lovell, CJ Greaves, Keegan Kincaid. Due to the invert, the top 2 guys in points start on that 3rd row. Mike Jenkins also starting back there in that 4th row. Mike has been extremely fast here in 4s. Let's see if he can turn it up a notch here in the 2s. A lot of horsepower, about 850, 900 horsepower hits this Charlotte tarmac. And Kyle Hart, with all the confidence in the world, is out in front.
And this is a sight for what we're going to see next year, because Kyle's moving from Pro Light into Pro 2, and now, as a champion, he's leading this Pro 2 race. Rodney Van Effert moving up into 2nd, and then also Keegan Kincaid moving into 3rd. We see Brad Lovell moving in off the track and back on the track, but CJ Greaves being patient down on the inside.
18 laps we're running in the Pro 2s and the Pro 4s. The lights ran for 16, so a little bit longer, but we're still having that competition caution halfway through. So after lap number 9, Kincaid back in 4th, number 7, make it 5th, a pass.
Brad Lovell trying to get by Ari Leindyke, but Ari's got the preferred line up on the cushion. The inside seems like the fast line, but as you watch, that outside cushion gives you more traction coming off.
CJ Greaves underneath as well. Look for CJ in the 33 Monster Energy truck. He's in position, goes inside, goes even tighter inside. And those two guys, they've been fast all year, and they don't make much contact, very little contact when they race.
Exactly. Keegan went from lost 2 spots there. He was swapping side to side, got stuck behind Ari, and now CJ Greaves gets up next to Brad Lovell. Now he's got the inside preferred line.
Lovell was in third that last time around. It looks like CJ's going to take over position, but Brad's still not backing out, and he's going to drive around the outside. Look at this drag race down the front straightaway. Big tabletop landing. Now the outside is where Lovell's going to be with a cushion. I'm seeing a lot of smoke. Is that engine or tires?
It looks like a little bit of tires. I think it's just fiberglass at this point, but Lovell's got the position because he used the cushion, but CJ's got the spot on the inside, so look for him to do a slide job.
He squares it up, tries going inside. What a nice, in drifting they call them clipping points. He just turned around that tire perfectly.
Yeah, and you know what? Both these guys are racing with a lot of respect. He's looking on the inside. Now he got the spot. Inside, out, outside, back to the inside. And now Lovell's but pushing his way back up there. He's not going to give up. This is the past Pro Light champion. He's not a pick out there.
That was a textbook pass by CJ Greaves, and you know what? It was awesome by Brad Lovell too, but he gets a little push in that turn, and now it's going to cost him. You see the Traxxas 7 has closed in, almost getting in the back business, and each time into that left turn, the fiberglass making contact. Speaking of contact, he hits the wall. Lovell makes contact with that concrete wall, and they don't go anywhere, Ricky.
No, you can push them hard, but they don't go anywhere. Now we see Lovell trying to get his way back in there, a little aggressive, probably frustrated with himself that he made a mistake. But now we got Keegan going after CJ. But let's look at lap times for just a moment. Kyle Hart has the fastest time with a 42.0. CJ Greaves, who's got a clear track, is a 42.7. So that's over a half a second quicker than Kyle Hart is out there. So this kid is not holding back.
7/10. 7/10 is an eternity in racing.
Exactly. When it comes to this kind of racing, from right there, you're going to talk about not half a straightaway, but probably about 5 or 6 truck lengths.
15 is looking good. The Maxxis entry looking for his first win in the Pro 2-wheel drive. We've seen him do it in Pro Lights, but much like how the future develops up in the classes, you lights, 2s, 4s, just like we've seen CJ and Keegan Kincaid, this kid has a bright future, but it's not how far you're ahead at the halfway point, because we know on the backside that they will start nose to tail. Let's go down to Kate Osborne, who has more on CJ Greaves.
CJ Greaves, who obviously is trying to get this championship under his belt here in Pro 2. He says if you try to plan for a race championship, it seems it never works out. You make more mistakes when you try to not make a mistake. But he did say that Keegan is in a position that he can be more aggressive. With the point standings where they are, they can take more chance than what CJ can actually do.
And you look at the race back there behind him, and Rodney Van Eppert on the outside, the Motorcycle Mechanics Institute 45. He's trying to stay in and ride that cushion, but the slide job from the Traxxas 7, Keegan Kincaid, takes over position. And Rodney, he wanted to ride the cushion, but he just got out there too far.
Yeah, he just got a little bit, and then CJ, but Keegan did a great job. He just worked his way through there, didn't slide job, didn't take him out, just worked his way there. Now we're going to probably see Keegan just be patient and wait for the yellow to come around. But now as we look at the lap times, CJ Greaves is going faster and faster. He's now at a 42.1, and still the fastest lap is 42.0 by Kyle Hart.
Yeah, CJ Greaves running about 0.3 quicker than Kyle Hart. That last lap, Keegan Kincaid running about 0.7 slower than CJ. So you're seeing the discrepancy in the times, but now that they're spread out a little bit, and Brad Lovell trying to work his way back up, currently in 5th right now, trying to make a pass on Rodney Van Eppert.
Yep.
CJ Greaves, the points leader. I don't even think he's thinking about championship. I think he's looking for the back half of this race, just trying to win it.
Well, and if he beats, if he gets Kyle Hart in between the two, between him and Keegan Kincaid, he walks away with the championship. So that's what we're going to be looking for. But, right now, no, this is not a gimme. Kyle Hart is out running hard, running strong, and holding his lead. But, once again, we do have the yellow flag to deal with.
Kyle Hart out in front, and the competition caution will happen at this rhythm section. You have a right-hander, a tabletop, another few kickers, and then the left-hander before the flagging stand. So I love this track here in Charlotte. With the rain, it started out very slippery, very wet. Mother Nature watering the track, as we like to say. But we're going to start nose to tail here in just a bit. The Maxxis entry number 15 out of Louisiana is in front in the first half of Pro 2. CJ Greaves in second, Kincaid in third, and Rodney Van Eppert is pulled to the infield. There's the newly crowned Turo Tire Pro Light winner, and he's also leading this race in the Pro 2-wheel drive. Ricky Johnson, I think you're able to pick up and you're able to get him on the radio.
Kyle Hart, Ricky Johnson up here in the booth. You're looking great out there, buddy. Congratulations, champion. Now you're looking for your first Pro 2 win. How do you feel?
Well, thanks, Ricky. You know, it's great. We just thrown up the Pro Light Championship, and now we're out here leading at the halfway in the Pro 2, so it's not going to be easy. I got a good group of guys behind me who want this top spot just as much as I am, so we're going to be battling till the end.
Any changes in the track? How is it feeling compared to in Pro Light?
You know, there's a lot more bite than what it was in Pro Light, and the track's coming in really decent.
Go get him, buddy.
All right, you see the tracks coming in. It's different than it was in the Pro Light. He's in a Pro 2-wheel drive with more suspension, more tires, more horsepower. You gotta love it if you're a kid.
Oh yeah, I mean everything that you could ever dream of, Kyle Hart is living it right now. He's the new crowned champion, and he gets the whole shot in the restart and the Pro 2-wheel drive.
But he also has the defending champion and a man who could clinch the championship in 2016 in Pro 2 just behind him in CJ Greaves, the number 33. Keegan Kincaid, if he stays where he's at, he's not going to let him wrap up that championship.
Well, exactly. So there's got to be somebody in between CJ and Keegan. And right now, Kyle Hart is doing a great job swapping side to side. You can see CJ working inside, working outside. Here comes Keegan looking on the inside. And we're going to get it, but that cushion is really helping out Kyle.
Boy, Kyle was swapping left and right in that rhythm section, but never let his foot out of that throttle, trying to straighten it up, trying to drive it forward.
Oh, we see CJ Greaves making a mistake, which we normally don't see. But imagine, folks, when you're stuck on ice or anything like that, or stuck in the sand, when you roll off the gas, you start to get traction. So for a racer, it's very hard not to just keep pushing the gas pedal to try to go faster. Here we're going to see these guys fluctuate the throttle back and forth to try to gain traction coming off the corner.
And you see Kyle Hart actually on the binders on the face of that jump. I did not expect that, but he doesn't want to overshoot that turn.
Exactly. We see the metallic brake pads where they shoot little sparks as he's coming out. Here we see CJ looking to the inside, Kyle with a little bit of a push, but he's got the cushion. Can he make it back? And it puts him on the inside, coming back onto the front stretch.
I think we're seeing the future of Pro 2. CJ Greaves, we already know he's a champion in his class. We've got a new champion in the Turo Tire Pro Lights that may now move to second. CJ takes over the lead, and also Keegan Kincaid back in third. Remember, he's a young gun, and he's going to win many championships where his career is done.
But if the race finishes like this, you're looking at your new Pro 2-wheel drive champion. So Keegan really wants to work his way up past Kyle Hart, but Kyle Hart looks like he's going right back after CJ Greaves.
And Kyle Hart's father, Marty, an ATV champion, a factory Honda pilot with you when you were racing motocross, he has racing in his genes. I'm not just talking about his Wranglers. I'm talking about literally in his bloodline. He wants this win. Forget about the Pro 2 thing and his first win. He wants to really win badly tonight on this big stage.
And this is great for Kyle right now because he can relax a little bit and he can watch CJ. CJ right now is the fastest driver that we have in Pro 2-wheel drive. Yes, Keegan Kincaid beat him last night, but consistently, this driver right here in that monster Toyota has been the class of the field. So he's going to school and learning. Watch, he's going to do whatever CJ does, he's going to do the same.
And driving around that outside with CJ Greaves still out in front. Kate with more.
The last time we were here in Charlotte, CJ ended up losing this race because he made a mistake, like what you were pointing out, Ricky, he doesn't do often. However, he knows where he made that mistake. It was in the sweeper. And right now, he is going to do all he can to hold on to that, make sure he doesn't make a mistake, and it's better than he was last time.
Well, what happened to Keegan Kincaid? Not in that top two picture. You don't even see him in that shot. And you're also looking at a manufacturer's pride on the line. Maxxis, and Cooper. So having that extra Maxxis tire truck in between is not hurting CJ at all. And what has happened to Keegan Kincaid? He's got a ton of ground to make up now.
Yeah, something's definitely wrong. He's fallen back quite a ways. It looks like all tires are there, but it could be anything. He could be slipping the tranny. It could be the converter. Anything could be happening, or he might have just made a mistake and fell back quite a ways. But the race is still not over. But right now, look at this. Kyle Hart, our new Pro Light champion, is going after CJ Greaves. He is not going to give it to him.
I like how he puts the right tire on that inside line, inside of everybody else, too. He might find a little more grip there.
But remember we talked about now he shoots to the inside, looking for a slide job here. CJ way wide, and now Kyle to the inside. Great shot right there.
And he's in a good position to keep him wide now, too. Look at him dive forward. As long as he takes that front end, he just couldn't quite get that little bit. He needed a half a truck more.
Yeah, but I love if you look at the different trucks, CJ's a little stiffer and Kyle's is a little softer, so it might get a little better bike transfer and weight forward to back, but I just love how well, for Kyle, I love how well Kyle is adapting to CJ's line. And for him, he's a fast study, he's learning every lap, and I like this inside line. It seems to help him and set him up for that finish line turn.
All right, I think we're looking at an outside move there, driving around that outside. Only 2 more laps remaining as they go by the flagging stand this time. All right, let's take a look at what happened to Keegan Kincaid. He was right in there in the mix, and then this happens. In the one right-hand turn, the 3rd truck in your picture, he squares it up, goes to that inside. Didn't clip that tire, but look at him. He's not in the right attitude there.
Then throws him completely around. And that's what's hard about that is you can't see as a driver. That's out the right side. The vehicle is leaned over. There's a bunch of what they call yaw on the truck. It's leaning way over, and you can't see those tires. So especially when you got those trucks in front of you. So it's an honest mistake, but that could cost him the championship.
There was some yaw in the truck, but no yawning watching these 2 trucks. Look at him. Kyle Hart again to the inside. 1 more lap to go in Pro 2-wheel drive. Oh, he throws it in there, doesn't he?
Great save. He bounced and swapped side to side.
Oh, look at that line.
But he's back after it. Back to the inside to the outside. This driver he's on an emotional high right now.
Oh, man. He just stayed in it. He kept his foot in it. You have to do that if you have any chance. He knows if he backs off, he has no chance, and only a half a lap remaining.
Yeah, and so this, if it finishes like this, you're looking at the new Pro 2-wheel drive champion. Number 33, CJ Greaves. And he's the defending champion as well. So great job by him, the whole Monster team.
And a dominant season, and this is not only for the 8th win of the season, but a champion for 2016, CJ Greaves. He wins. Man, what an unbelievable race. His 7th time in 8 races, CJ Greaves is the winner.
TORC, the Off-Road Championship, is brought to you by Cooper Tires. We make tires for people, not just cars. Bad Boy Off-Road and their all-new Stampede 900 4x4 side-by-side. And by AMSOIL, devoted to protection.
His 3rd Pro 2-wheel drive championship in a row. Let's go down. CJ Greaves with Kate Osborne.
What a victory that was. This is the 3rd year in a row that you've run 1 Pro 2. You did it by winning that race. Kyle gave you a good run for your money, though, especially that second half. Walk us through after the comp caution.
Yeah, you know, Kyle and I had our differences the first race of the year, but I got to give my hats off to him. He ran me hard and clean that whole race. I couldn't ask for anything better, and it was a blast. I saw him peeking inside of me in all the corners, and every little mistake I would make, he'd be right there again. And it just really came down to hitting perfect lines, and he blew wide in that right-hander just a little bit, and I was able to get next to him and then just floated it up to the wall. And then I got out front, and I started blowing that right-hander wide, and I could see him getting inside of me. But, you know, it's just unreal. 3 years in a row. I couldn't do it without all my team, Boots and Butters. And, I mean, everyone, Pat, Cody, Brad, my mom and dad, everyone that helps us out and is there every weekend, I really appreciate it. I mean, we couldn't do it without all you guys. Monster Energy, Toyota, Don and Ernie, I don't know where you guys are at, but let's do it again in another year. But really appreciate all their work. Max's tires were hooking up great. Forest County Potawatomi, Method Race Wheels, AMSOIL, Fox Shocks, Impact Safety, Mastercraft kept us looking good and seeing good out there the whole time. So appreciate everything they do for us, and just my whole crew that works their butt off. Devin, everybody, thanks a lot.
A lot of celebrating for CJ Greaves here tonight as he's unofficially the Pro 2 champion.
Not once, not twice, but 3 times. He keeps getting more and more victories. The unofficial result, CJ Greaves on top. Back in 2014, 7 wins in Pro 2. Then 15, he has 6. He already has 8 with still 1 more round to go. Where does this kid go from here? He says we'll see you next year, but where does he go from here, Ricky?
It's just a matter of money and sponsors and where everyone wants to take him. You know, right now he drives for Greaves Motorsports, which he is a big part of that. You know, it's Kathy Greaves, Johnny Greaves, the sky is the limit. He's young, he's aggressive, he's obviously great on the mic. So like I said, I'm surprised that we're not hearing more about him going somewhere else.
Well, a guy who's here in the now and finishes 2nd place after coming off in Pro Lights is Kyle Hart. And Kate's with him.
Yeah, you mentioned that Pro Lights. This is the Pro Light champion unofficially here tonight. It's unbelievable, and the way you had to do it is pretty crazy. It was a very tough battle for you that Pro Lights race. Walk us through it because it was tough.
Oh, you know, it come a little shower and it had the track super sloppy for the Pro Light race, and they pulled us out and let us scrape some of the mud, and they worked the track, and they gave us the best track that they could. Hats off to the guys, and we were just sliding around, banging off of each other and everything else out there. But to be able to clinch the thing before the end of the season is just great, and then I get to go hop in this thing and got to lead a bunch of laps, and then let CJ by me, and then got back by him for a little bit, and then he got back past me again, but we were right there behind him the whole time, so we know we have the speed, and looking forward to a great year in this thing next year.
You talk about the speed. Kyle, you were telling me earlier that you knew you guys had a fast truck, and you were just gaining a little Pro 2 respect. How well do you think you did that tonight?
Oh, you know, we ran strong, and I don't think these guys could disagree, but we ran clean and hard, and it's all we can do when we come out second, but I can't thank all my guys enough, my mom, my dad, Paul, Victor. They worked their butts off this weekend with 2 trucks and this much mud and this many times on the track. They've worked hard, and thanks so much. And Max's, AMSOIL, Fiberworks, Fox, Dynamic Torque Converters, and everybody else who helps me get here. Thank you.
Kyle Hart, a big night for him as he's unofficially the Pro Lights champion and on the podium again in Pro 2.
As we look at the points in Pro 2-wheel drive, Keegan Kincaid needed some help, but 26 points behind with 1 round remaining. He cannot mathematically win the championship. So barring tech inspection, CJ Greaves will win his 3rd in a row. Brad Levelback 58 points. And again, you can only make 25 points per round, and that is why Keegan Kincaid cannot win the championship, being down 26 after tonight. Let's go down to Kate Osborne, who's with Keegan Kincaid.
Yeah, Keegan, that was a hard-fought battle all season long. Tonight was a hard battle for you as well. But the good news is you can now go to Crandon and just kill it for yourself. It's going to be awesome, I think. But how much are you looking forward to getting to Crandon now?
Oh, I'm looking forward to it now, especially after tonight. I want a little redemption, and you know, we were pushing hard. It was a good battle between these 2 up here, and I was waiting for them to make a mistake. But you know, I can't give it up for my team. They put a lot of hard work in, and congrats to CJ. He just had a unbelievable season. Never had a break or nothing. So hats off to his team, and I can't thank Traxxas, Cooper Tires, AMSOIL, everybody that helps me out. You know, God for giving me the opportunity and keeping me safe, and my whole family, everybody. Without them, it won't be possible. You know, we're gonna go to Crandon and hopefully just get a couple wins there.
All right, Keegan, very much looking forward to Crandon.
Well, when in Charlotte, you never know who you're going to see. And in the pits, look who got to jump in and drive an off-road truck. It's NASCAR's Kenny Wallace.
If you could summarize the showdown here in Charlotte, what would you say?
You know, we're at the epicenter of auto racing, which is, you know, Charlotte Motor Speedway, Charlotte, North Carolina, and this is where everybody needs to be.
And you went out for practice, and what did you think?
Well, you know, I'm a rookie. I don't know anything I'm doing. Of course, Ricky Johnson is a dear friend of mine. When Ricky came to NASCAR, we drove a NASCAR truck together. So Ricky was telling me what to do, but now if I get hurt, it's probably going to be my fault from driving too hard.
Kenny Wallace, like I said, a very familiar face here, especially around Charlotte. Right there, that face.
Believe it or not, we still have a ton of racing to go. The Pro 4s, the big boys, the bad boys, the 4-wheel drives are coming up next at the dirt track at Charlotte. You gotta stick with it. There they are, the Pro 4-wheel drives. We bumped up the horsepower when we went to 2s. Well, these are the same type of engines, but now we have 4 wheels pulling at the same time. Mike Jenkins, Ross Hook start things off on the front row.
In second row is Chad Hort and Scott Douglas. Let's look for both of these past winners to try to work their way up to the front.
You look back to the next row and you have a pair of Greaves, CJ Greaves, trying to win his 6th Pro 4 race in a row. Johnny Greaves might have a little something to say about it.
And then we have right there is St. Earl Bammer, but that's actually Mark Kwame in his own truck. And in the very back is Larry Pegram. So we have Brasho as well. So a lot of fast Pro 4s, and the green is ready to drop.
18-lap race, just like the Pro 2-wheel drives. Green means go, and on the inside generally has an advantage. But we've seen with that cushion, that outside, you can drive around, and that's exactly what Mike Jenkins just did.
And now we got Scott Douglas looking to the inside, wants to try to get by Ross Hook, but Ross blocking to the inside. And so now with a hard rotation, that puts Scott to the inside.
I think that was a great move by Ross, but an excellent move by Scott Douglas, now taking over second in that AMSOIL entry.
And now Ross coming back on the inside. Is he going to return the favor? We see Johnny Greaves trying to work his way around the outside, getting pushed out. And Ross works his way back into second place. But we are bumping and banging and going racing.
And you've got a four-wheel drive on the inside of you, and he's going to be able to claw and grab for traction. Hook on the silver truck on the outside, number 10. And Scott takes over that second place. Scott Douglas, the number 7 truck out of El Cajon, California, now into second.
And now CJ Greaves and Johnny Greaves looking to the inside of Ross Hook, but Ross Hook holding his line as Johnny works his way up to the inside.
Johnny, number 22 on that black and green Monster Energy Toyota. You see him with that green light on the inside. Hook on there just behind him, and CJ Greaves trying to put a rope to Johnny and just pull him up to the front.
And now Johnny, we saw Ross, we saw Chad Horde and Kent Brasho getting stuck in turn 2, but now we got Johnny Greaves working inside, then now outside, then back to the inside of Scott Douglas.
And that transmission of Johnny, I think, really helped him right there. He was grabbing gears heading to that front straight.
Well, to talk about that transmission, all these trucks, except out in front, are manuals. So Johnny Greaves has a X-Track, which is a 6-speed, and Scott Douglas has a 4-speed. So you got a couple more gears, closer ratio, and that's where you see Johnny Greaves rev that Toyota motor out.
It's not like that Toyota motor is lacking for horsepower either, as you see CJ Greaves in that orange Maxxis entry, number 33, the defending and now the new 2016 Pro 2 champion, but he wants his Pro 4 victory. He's been literally untouchable in Pro 4s as of late, winning 5 races in a row.
Well, we've seen these two guys bump and bang in the past, but CJ Greaves gets to the inside cleanly. He worked him a little bit, but really wasn't a dirty move, really. And as you can see, no fiberglass missing off of CJ Greaves, but now we see Scott Douglas looking to the inside and works back to the outside. So these guys are running clean, and now they're starting to pull in our leader, Mike Jenkins.
Remember the last time when we saw Scott Douglas and CJ Greaves on a short course track on one of these oval tracks back in Chicago, and Scott and CJ, they had a few words with each other, and I don't think CJ liked the way that Scott was treating him. On the other hand, I don't think Scott really cared what CJ thought. Uh-oh, look at that. Both drivers into it. Johnny on the inside. He had a wheel in on Jenkins. He didn't let go at all, did he?
No, they were bumping and banging hard, rubbing on each other. They have spotters, and so they're letting them know inside, outside. And now here comes CJ as Johnny Greaves if Mike Jenkins gets back into him. So Mike Jenkins trying to retaliate a little bit more.
You can see that coming a mile away. CJ Greaves ready to pounce back in third. He's going to hit him. There's no question. Bump, and Johnny spins around on his own. Well, CJ's still in second.
But we might have a problem. We've seen this happen. When you have contact with a four-wheel drive, you can break the differential. We've seen Johnny Greaves break his differential. Now he only has two-wheel drive. It happened to him in Bark River, but now is Mike Jenkins. Did he hurt his tires?
So there's CJ just crawling around the track, and we will have a competition caution.
Right there.
And Johnny back there behind him, too. He's not looking so stellar.
Right, and as Luke talked about in Bark River, when you lose four-wheel drive in a Pro 4-wheel drive, you can see how Johnny's just squirting around. There's all that weight in the front. They do not respond like a Pro 2-wheel drive. So both of these trucks, both Greaves trucks who were so dominant all year long, are both having troubles, and they're just walking around waiting for somebody else to break. But Mike Jenkins changed the motor and also wants to try to pull this win off.
So let's take a look at what happened with Mike Jenkins, because I felt a little retribution, because I knew Johnny didn't really want to back out on this straightaway, and you'll see a lot of that right here.
Johnny's easing up, Jenkins coming down, they're bumping in, banging into each other, and what this does is, what it'll do is it'll pinch the wheel. See how it hits really hard right there? Is what happens is it can break that differential and you lose all-wheel drive. So they hit once, twice, 3 times, and then next thing you know, you see Johnny Greaves isn't able to keep going. But we don't know what's going on with CJ Greaves.
So Johnny at that point had that inside line. Mike couldn't turn down in, but right here, Johnny just has something going, and you knew Mike was going to give him a love tap because Johnny just did it to him the lap before.
But then Johnny comes around, hits, and the next thing you know, you can see he loses front drive
Right.
and just comes around. But CJ Greaves, we didn't see any hard impacts. We didn't see anything that
He's not
caused that.
turning. He's not turning right there even. He's already had difficulties at that point. But either way, we're not going to wrap up the championship here tonight. But will Mike Jenkins? I don't know. He looks like he's under a lot of power right now. Maybe something's come back, and we've heard about that as well. Have it now and not have it a little bit later. Mike Jenkins, will he win here in Charlotte? We're going to get the competition caution coming up here the next time around. Douglas is 6 seconds behind, but that will all be eliminated whenever we take that competition caution. We'll start nose to tail this next time around after they make this left-hand turn. So no matter how big of a lead you had, you're not going to have it here in just a second. So the Traxxas entry's in front for the first half of the race, very much like he was at the last round here in Charlotte. Can he hold on this time? Douglas, Horde, Kwame, they got a little something to say about it. Mike Jenkins, your leader after 9 laps here in Charlotte. He still has 9 more to go. Where is the series points leader? CJ Greaves, he was up there in second place, but he dropped back. Kate Osborne has more.
With a quick update from Devin, his spotter, sounds like he broke the drive shaft and obviously is now really having a pretty tough day.
All right, thanks a lot, Kate. And difficulties, some drive terrain problems with that Pro Ford. Of course, if everything was broke, he wouldn't get any kind of drive. But the 33, the Maxxis Century, is starting well back there, and maybe he's just going to try and get some type of drive. But Johnny Greaves still in the picture. Maybe he will have four-wheel drive for a little while. But the question is, can Mike Jenkins hold on? Scott Douglas wants a win. I'm telling you, Horde wants a win in third. Mark Kwame is in fourth. He would love a win here in Charlotte.
But as we're watching these guys go around, we were listening to Chad Horde's radio. We didn't get a chance to talk to him, but he said something's clunking underneath, like a Heinz joint or something is loose or something is broke. But here we see Scott Douglas, very aggressive. He can taste blood. He wants to get up there and wants to get back on top of that box. But Chad Horde is not going to make it easy. He's sticking his nose right in there.
Neither is Mike Jenkins as well. Mike Jenkins is out in front. His wife Kelly's here. Little Mikey, his son, is here as well. Would love to see Dad on top of the podium. He's never done that since he's been alive, and he's trying to win not only here in 2016, but the first time since Redbud back in 2013, and we've got a pass for the lead. Clunky or not, Chad Horde is trying to drive around the outside, and here comes Jenkins again in the 47.
Jenkins does a big swap side to side and last. In the previous round, he blistered a tire and had some trouble, so right now we're 3 wide.
Somebody's in a sandwich, and his name's Chad Horde. Man, it's some contact.
A little bit of contact. Chad opens up the door.
In rotation
and
station.
I'll bet that he broke his drive. He broke something in the front. He hit with that left front on Scott Douglas, and now all of a sudden he spun around. So I think he lost his front drive.
All right, getting a little slippery coming down this front straightaway. We saw to kick off the night in the Enduro Tire Pro Light. The track looks a lot different than it did the first race, Ricky.
It's a very tricky track right now. You can see that it's hard and slick, but then you get that cushion up on the high side when the drivers go up there. It grabs the tire and pushes them out. So Mike Jenkins, it's a very physical track, physical track.
Full course caution. Something happened. Something caused a full course caution out there on the track. And yep, the yellow is out, so they re-rack and restack. You know, Johnny Greaves started back in 6th. He's up to 4th, and remember, the series points leader is back in 8th. Johnny Greaves is making up a ton of ground right now. As Chad Horde gets the rope, he's having to be pulled off in the Pro 4-wheel drive, and he was up there battling for the lead. What happens, Ricky?
He comes in, you can see as he goes to grab a hold of it, his left front tire wasn't running. I thought that he had hit Scott Douglas, so I was wrong. He had lost his drive, but then the vehicle locked up. His left front was locked up, and it just spun him around.
As we look at the Pro 4-wheel drives line up nose to tail, Jenkins, Douglas, Kwame, Johnny Greaves back in 4th. His son CJ, the points leader, in 8th. As it stands right now, Johnny Greaves would have 252 points. His son CJ would have 256. We're only looking at 4 points going into Crandon if it stays like it is now, but Johnny still may be able to pluck off drivers.
Yeah, but we got a great race for 3rd place right now. We see that Ross Hook is looking on the inside of Mark Kwame, but to kind of reiterate what Kate was talking about, when you're driving a manual versus an automatic, it's just so much easier. Here we some bumping and banging. Ross Hook going back and forth, and White Lightning, Kim Brasho.
Here comes White Lightning.
Went back into 3rd place. So Brasho, one of the oldest trucks out there, is just out ripping it up and working his way into the top 3.
He slid through there like Grease Lightning. We might have to change the name, Ricky.
Mark Kwame, backing it around, having a great time. Oh, him and Ross Hook, obviously, a little bumping and banging. They're not real happy with each other at this point.
Ross is not happy right there, is he? We saw him do that to CJ, and I asked him about it back in Mark River, and he said, I'm just tired of being pushed around.
And now a new leader, Scott Douglas, has gotten past Mike Jenkins as we see him rotate around. And now, as we were talking about, he's running the audit of the manual transmission, and you don't have that turning brake. We see Mike Jenkins slowing down, so something is wrong with the number 47, Mike Jenkins. And right now, it's all about Scott Douglas out in front.
Battle of attrition. And Scott Douglas won back in Chicago round number 4, but since then, his best finish only 1/3 in Bark River in round 10. Everything else had been 4th, 5th, 7th in the last round. Just not had the luck. So yeah, Jenkins is definitely broke. Look at this race for second. White Lightning has now moved into second. And is that
Here comes Kwame, and he just drives right through.
Oh my goodness.
Right through Jenkins. And Jenkins, I think, is having a problem with his four-wheel drive as well, or it just doesn't seem to be pulling. He did switch that motor before the race.
He was bing, 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 ricochet rabbit right there, though.
Yeah, that's a tough break because he was positioned now.
He's pulling out. He is done. All right, we're looking at Scott Douglas. He only has a few more laps, and he's going to win this thing. 5 more to go. White Lightning Kip Brasho in second. Mark Kwame in third. And Kwame, this would be his best finish in Pro 4, right?
Yeah, and strange things are happening tonight. We've seen a lot of vehicles break and stuff, but Scott Douglas is putting down laps. He's running really strong. So I don't want to, I hate to, he doesn't want to win, with everybody breaking, but he drove his way up to the front. Now here's the race for second and third. Brasho in second with Mark Kwame in third, who's been doing a lot of sports car racing and now coming back out.
Hey, look at this. And this is a pass for second place. He dives to the inside. It's not asphalt. It's dirt. He goes from out to in, and now he's going to be set up on the inside here. Let's see if White Lightning can be slippery again. And Kwame, he gets on the binders. He didn't want to hit him.
Or he just tried to tap him a little bit.
Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
That's what you're sticking with?
And
jumps all the way almost into him there.
Yeah, when you got a racer that can smell blood, it's like a shark in the water. He's going after it. So if you want, as we talked before with Andrew Carlson, you don't want to be second. If you can be second, you want to be second. You can be second, you want to be first. So right now, these two guys are fighting for that second spot.
And Kwame is a man who puts his money where his mouth is. He wants to race. He does. He pays for his own entry in the Popcorn Sutton's entry, and he helped out Earl Bamber. He's also out there with Larry Pegram. But he's an asphalt driver coming out of his pocket. He's an off-road driver, and it comes out of his pocket. He's not afraid to put the hammer down.
Oh, no, absolutely not. And what was funny is that he missed the first round because one of his buddies, jumping hard off the finish line, he's giving it all he's got. But one of his buddies flipped his truck in his front yard, and so he had to get it rebuilt. So he's all about having fun with his buddies. I shouldn't say he's all about it. He's all about work, and a family man. He's a great guy, but he's about sharing what he's got with his buddies.
He helps a lot of people. MDK Motorsports, I remember it, Nick Way, and now he goes into second, helping him out in Supercross. I never knew he was the MDK in MDK Motorsports.
Yeah, Mark D. Kwame, as they say. So we have an awesome race for second place, and these guys keep giving it back and forth, and now we see White Lightning looking up the inside. We got the white flag out.
One more lap to go for Scott Douglas. 17 laps complete. This is an 18-lap race. Scott looking for his second victory of the year. He currently sits 4th in championship points and only 2 behind Chad Horde, so he'll move up to 3rd if he stays where he's at. All right, let's quickly look at what happened just a moment ago. All right, there's Brasho in the white truck. There's Kwame. Kwame rotates the rotation station, and he's squared up on the inside, but a nice move. Again, Grease Lightning. Sneaks on by.
Slipped on by. You got to give it to him. So now we're watching the last turn. Here we go, looking for the checkered flag.
Second time he wins for 2016. He just putts over that finish line. Scott Douglas in the AMSOIL truck, number 7, takes the win. Kent Brasho, White Lightning in second, and Mark Kwame rounds out the podium in 3rd.
TORC, the Off-Road Championship, is brought to you by AMSOIL, devoted to protection. Bad Boy Off-Road and their all-new Stampede 900 4x4 side-by-side. And by Kenda Tires, designed for your journey.
Scott Douglas, he fought them all off, and he was the fastest in Pro 4-wheel drive. He takes his second victory in 2016. and moves up a spot in the championship doing so. He's down with Kate Osborne.
This is a big win for you, Scott. You were telling me earlier that this has been quite a challenge as it relates to getting comfortable with the manual, especially out on this short track. You also were saying that this is a big testament to your team because you basically gave them reins. You said, I want it to feel fast. I want it to be fast. You guys do it, and that's exactly what happened. What do you have to say to them?
Exactly. My team, man, they did a great job. But, man, this thing handled really, really well. The AMSOIL truck just was awesome. And just like you said, I give them the reins, and all I got to do is drive it. So it's pretty awesome. It's crazy because there's no second gear, there's no front diff left, and the clutch is all but gone. It was trying to quit going over the finish line. So the last 3 laps was just nerve-wracking. I knew we were bad fast, but things just started breaking, and one thing broke, then another thing broke. I'm like, oh my God, are we gonna make this thing? And anyway, I love these short tracks, and I tell you what, this AMSOIL truck worked great, with Rusty's off-road support and Walker Evans racing wheels and these Cooper tires hooked up on the bottom. I don't know if you saw some of the moves I did on the bottom there. We were hooked up.
Scott Douglas, his second Pro 4 win of the season.
As we look at the results, you notice one name who's moved into third, Johnny Greaves. That's because Mark Kwame, he was dock 1 position, said he took a little shortcut through the infield, so they dropped him from third to fourth. So Johnny Greaves now finishes in third, his son back there in 6th. But Kent Brasho, what a run by him. He was aggressive. He wanted to be on top of that box. This man's been doing it for a long time. And once again, he's on the podium. Kate Osborne has caught up with White Lightning, or should I call him Grease Lightning?
Grease Lightning, White Lightning, this guy, you have made it on the podium. It's been a long season for you to get up here. We heard people out here saying, wow, that is just a victory for you, and that's truly what it was. Congratulations, second place here. Describe what it means right now to be standing here on the podium.
Oh, it feels great. This old truck, Max, has helped us out a lot, and all my family was here tonight, and I had to do it hard. But it was great to be here. This old truck, 20 years old, Walker Evans built it years ago, and it's still going strong. So I appreciate it.
White Lightning, folks.
Oh, man, it's good hearing him like that. Man, this thing 20 years old. He kicked some tail out there, and you see him also in 7th in championship points. But you notice only 6-point differential between CJ Greaves and Johnny Greaves now as we head to Crandon, the final stop of the season. Man, the gloves are off. Who's going to win, father or son? Speaking of that, let's go to the father, Johnny Greaves, who finishes in 3rd here tonight.
Johnny, that was a race that could be described as probably just not good.
Chaos.
It was just one of those things that you kind of had to get your way through it. You kept your consistent laps in terms of finishing, and it kind of did well for you. You're now going to go into Crandon closer to CJ.
Yeah, I mean, we were having a great race in the beginning. I picked my way through, and Mike Jenkins was out front leading. Caught him, passed him clean, and then, the Mike Jenkins came out and ran into everybody, and karma got him back, and I seen him spun out and sitting there with a big frown on his face, so good for him. When he learns how to drive everybody like professionals, we'll all drive him like professionals. But, this is one of them places, and that's what you get.
Johnny Greaves.
All right, well, Ricky, what do you think? You've done this before.
Johnny, tell me how you really feel. I've been on both sides with Johnny Greaves, and I love that about him. But so much emotion goes into this. And when you're out there racing back and forth, and Mike Jenkins was doing everything he can. He felt he was close to the win last night, so he fought really hard for it tonight. And he was playing pretty rough. And as we saw, Johnny Greaves didn't feel it was fair, and he stated his opinion.
Well, we've heard Johnny's thoughts. Let's go down to Kate Osborne's, who is Mike Jenkins.
An interesting night for Mike Jenkins. You were doing so well there in the race, and then you weren't. In your opinion, what happened?
We just had a mechanical failure. We broke a front diff. The rhythm section was really bad out there, but I heard some comments. While I was in the pit taking a look at the truck after we retired with no brakes, no front diff, and I heard Johnny Greaves having some comments about lack of professionalism, and when you're the guy at the top, you don't want to be knocked off. So just want to make sure that we understand I'm not a sore sport. We're just trying to bring a great show out. We've got a great sport. We love what we do. It's killer power. It's a ton of fun. We beat those things so hard this week, and we destroyed diffs. Johnny went down, CJ went down, I went down. I think Kwame lost a diff as well. Larry lost a diff. It was a tough track. Thanks, Ricky Johnson. Anyhow, thanks for the time. Appreciate you guys tuning in to us.
Mike Jenkins, guys.
but we started off the night with an excellent race, a last turn pass by Kyle Kleiman, now a 4-time winner in a row. Kyle Kleiman, CJ Greaves is going to take the top spot in Pro 2-wheel drive, and Scott Douglas wins Pro 4. For Kate Osborne and Ricky Johnson, I'm Robbie Boyd. That's it for Charlotte. Next up, Brandon, the Big House.